Hips, 405 29th Avenue Drive, Northwest, wants to talk about council's leadership role.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, city staff, and fellow citizens. I understand that this is not the time, and we're not going to debate the merits of the word-specific voting. And I'm going to be respectful of the time. But my concern is not so much the merits of each person's position, but the fact that I really don't feel at this point I have seen leadership from this council and a track to inform the citizens how each and every one of you individually stands on this. You guys are the leadership of this city. And this may be the most substantial issue the city will address in our generation. This is, I think, a big issue. The voters, I think, have done a great job in getting this petition signed and forwarded. More people signed for this referendum than voted for each one of you in your current positions. And that's a pretty high bar to pass. It's a very high bar to pass. And if I can steal a phrase here, I think this is participatory democracy well crafted. Now, some of you have articulated positions in the media. I know, Mr. Mayor, you have. I've seen Mr. Seaver and Mr. Guest in the paper and even on radio. And I'm glad to speak out in this forums. But I would like to see that addressed by council because, quite frankly, you know, a lot of you guys haven't taken positions, and this is a big issue. And I don't think that in this case, private conversations, phone calls, and that sort of thing will really cut it with the public, if I may be that blunt. I know you guys will take phone calls, and I do appreciate that. But I think council needs to take a public stand. Now, there was some suggestion that you guys could go ahead and take this upon yourselves to vote on this issue without going through the referendum process, and there was some suggestion this might even save the money. Well, I do agree with that, but I don't really think saving the money is the issue. Political bodies are here to debate and inform the public. That's part of your function as well as passing the laws that we live under. And in an issue such as this and the importance of it, I really think that it ought to be brought to a vote so each one of you can publicly articulate your position and your reasons why you think this should or should not pass. And to be quite blunt again, I think our city is a well-managed city. And I think we do quite a number of things right. I don't mean to be demeaning or negative about my comments tonight. But I don't see the intellectual rigor sometimes that a good, vigorous opposition debate brings. Now, I'm not saying we have to be Washington, D.C. because they've taken it to an extreme, and we don't want to be that. But I feel too often things are done in a southern, genteel way, kind of informally, not out in the light of day, and not with the intellectual rigor it deserves. And this is just too important an issue to go by in that fashion.
3 minutes.
If I could briefly continue? Okay, thank you very much. I would just like to ask that you consider a vote by council on this issue. True, we can go with the process and pick a date and pick the wording, which is the intention of the meeting after this meeting. But I would ask you to consider debating this and having a vote as a council. You know, maybe you're all in lockstep. I would hope that there is a diversity of opinion among you guys for the health of our democracy. You know, there are a lot of people in this town that do feel enfranchised. And Mr. Mayor, on the radio the other day, you said that there should be a high bar for these referendums so that frivolous things are not brought in front of the council. I agree with that, but you know what? Hickory's problem is not frivolity. It's apathy and disenfranchisement. And I really think that we need to flush this out in public. And you guys are the leaders. You know, we can say what we want to back here, but it's incumbent upon you guys to lead. And I would just ask that you consider council voting in and weighing on this issue so that there is a public record and that you guys have positions that you're accountable to the public for on this issue. Thank you much for your time.
Mr. Hicks, we'll take your suggestion under advisement. Thank you. I would like to say something that I was going to say for the next meeting, but you may have noticed that out front we have distributed or made available many copies of a report prepared by the Institute of Government in Chapel Hill, nonpartisan, independent, that talks about the pros and cons of the proposed system and our present system. We would encourage you to take those and study them. Look at the pros and cons of both systems. That's what we're doing. Mr. Kroll, independent, unbiased, is going to be asked, next week I think, but he will come here, and he's going to lead a meeting. We're not sure what kind of format that's going to take, but we presently are thinking that we'll take a meeting with Mr. Kroll, someone independent of city government, to serve as a moderator and keep things under control. And let everybody ask whatever questions they have. Thirdly, we have asked the Chamber of Commerce to consider holding an unbiased forum, and we hope that the League of Women Voters, other groups, also unbiased, will hold forums as well. We think the citizens deserve to study this very well. I don't know how to respond, and I'm pouring my heart out a little bit. I don't know how to respond to allegations of closed doors when we've worked so hard to be transparent about everything we do. That's all I can say about it. Okay? And then finally, with the degree of interest you've seen here, I'm going to request, I'm only one voter out of 7, but I'm going to request that staff and city council consider another town hall meeting where we will discuss the merits of the present and the proposed systems. I don't know what else we can do. It's our job. It's clear that it's our job to set the date and the wording of this referendum. But we chose to get all of the input we can get before we make that decision. I don't know what else we can do. But anyway, Mr. Hick, most everything that you said I agree with. There's one or two things I disagree with. But thank you for your input. I understand